Welcome back, and today we're going to talk about 5 new knives to hit the table. Now, 4 of these come in under $30, and then we have one ultra premium variation from Remette we're going to talk about as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, if you've been browsing Amazon for folding knives, this might have shown up from time to time, and you've always wondered, is it even worth the money? At around like $22 to $23, it's a really tempting prospect because it has 12C27 blade steel and it looks awfully familiar. It looks very similar to a certain very premium American knife. Now, I will tell you right now, I'm just going to make it really simple. This knife is a real meh. Like, it's probably not worth your time. And so I just want to get that out of the way. Should you consider this knife? Probably not this specific variation. Does it have a decent blade grind, a decent steel? Absolutely. But because it's tip down carry only and it's relatively small with not the greatest action in the world, I just don't know if this is the best option at that price point. And yes, there are quite a few good knives at that $23 range. In fact, there's another one from the same company that you probably should consider over this one. And that is, well, 2 variations of a knife that truly is a clone of the Sebenza, the large Sebenza. So here we have one with a steel handle and one with G10, something that you'll never find with a Sebenza. And these are both coming in around between $22 and $28. So really, really inexpensive knives that actually offer quite a bit for the price. Now, if you want to know more about Land is basically a sub-brand, and they get their knives made from a company called Sanrenmu, who is an OEM for companies like Boker and many, many others. So the quality is absolutely there. Their heat treatment is on point. Their edges are all pretty good. They even have proper sharpening choils, and the action is fantastic for these knives with a very good bearing action. You can reverse flick the knife on the thumb stud. Check out that lock bar access. Isn't that nice? Very, very nice. And this is exactly the basic footprint of a large Sebenza. Now, I've handled a large Sebenza, but the steel variation is a lot closer to the same feel. And I have to tell you, this is done very, very, very well. We have a crown spine, a black washed steel handle. The handle has actually been milled out for something that is under $30. Look at that. They actually removed a lot of the material to make it lighter. Love the way this thing looks. The edge is once again done pretty well. This one actually does get a little thicker towards the tip, but that's perfectly fine for this price point. We have a sharpening choil here, great thumb studs, good action once again. No up and down, no side-to-side blade play. This one is a frame lock variation. And I gotta say, this might be one of my favorite knives under 30 right now. Now, there's gonna be some people out there saying, oh my gosh, how can you be pushing this clone stuff? The reality is the people who are gonna buy this knife are not the same people who are going to buy the Sebenza, which comes in around $300 starting. I think maybe a little bit under that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've held them and they're really cool, but they are for a very small audience and they are basically unavailable whenever they go live. They're bought up by the same fans of those knives. This is a way for you to get that same basic form factor, the feel of it, at a price point where you can use this knife and use it hard, and if it gets damaged or broken or whatever, you're not gonna cry about it. You're never gonna take a Sebenza to a job site, but you might take this knife. So even if you were a Sebenza owner and you wanted something that you can kind of kick around but gives you the same feel, this is pretty close. I hate to say it, but this is pretty close to what I experienced with the Sebenza, but with just much better action because the Sebenza comes on washers where this comes on bearings. So it gives you a little bit more fun when it comes to manipulation as well. I can't say enough. I mean, the brand that makes this, or OEMs for Land, is well known. They've done a lot of work. I'm not concerned about the heat treatment on these. And as a budget knife, under 30 bucks, I think it's really good. I actually think I like the G10 handles a little bit better. I think they're a little bit more comfortable to use and feel very dissimilar from the Sebenza, the full-size Sebenza, because they really fill in your hand a lot more. They don't make one that's this thick. It's closer to what you're seeing with the frame lock variation. So I actually kind of like this, and I think it's going to end up being a very decent, low-budget work knife that people might want to consider. And the fact that it also has the reversible clip, which I really appreciate. And I'm also thankful they didn't make a deep carry clip, because sometimes those get caught, and this is also going to make the ergonomics even better. This just basically disappears in the hand. Overall, I'm very happy with both of these designs, and I definitely can recommend them as budget offerings. And yeah, not much more to say. Let me know what you guys think about these down below, and what you feel about clone knives in general. I tend to feel as long as they are not literally trying to copy and represent themselves as something else, aka making them counterfeits, then I'm pretty much okay with it, as long as we're past any statute of limitations on any patents, which we are well past that at this point. Let me know what you think, though, down in the comments. It is finally back in stock. So when this hit Amazon, it sold out almost immediately, and that's not surprising because of the price. This was $30 in change for D2 blade steel, excellent G10 handles, reversible pocket clip, and a fuller that allows you to reverse flick the knife. This thing is fantastic. And if you know anything about Miguron, they are one of, if not the #1 budget brand, as far as I'm concerned, on Amazon. They continually offer the best value I've seen, and this is no exception. The grind is done very, very well. It has plenty of space for sharpening. You have excellent access to the lock bar. The action on this is very, very good. There's no side to side, no up and down play. This makes most $40 or $50 knives look just okay when it comes to value. Man, I'll tell you what though, this black variation, which you can get other types, is definitely a fingerprint magnet. But overall, if you're looking for an excellent budget knife, this might be the pick. Now you can choke back here and use the whole handle, and I can get a proper 4-finger grip, and there's still enough space up front that if I wanted to, I could choke up as well. Overall, I think this is one of their best offerings yet. They tend to go just a little bit above it, around that $40 to $50 range, where they're including 14C 28N blade steel and milled titanium pocket clips. And at that price, they're the only brand that I know of that does that consistently, and while delivering a incredible package with high quality control. I have bought every single knife from this company. They've never sent me anything, and I continue to buy them because they are just so impressive, and this is no exception. This is actually the second time I've reviewed it, but it immediately went out of stock within that same time frame and is now back. So if you've been looking for something that you can either gift or just kick around with, this is probably a good choice. And with a blade length just under 3 inches, it's a very, very good all-around knife that you can use day to day. I absolutely adore this. I like the fuller quite a bit. In fact, this is one of my favorite things, is to have a fuller on a knife, because I can flick it out with my thumb. I can reverse flick the knife. I can use the flipper tab, which by the way has excellent jimping on it. This is just awesome. I can't say enough. This is a knife worth getting. It's a knife worth gifting. And yeah, under that 30 and change, there's almost nothing better. We just jumped from what was basically a budget knife all the way up to ultra premium. And this is really, really different. First of all, we can tell this is all about the looks of the knife. We have this very, very futuristic sort of retro style. Titanium all over the place. This is all titanium handles, titanium backspacer, milled titanium pocket clip. And check out this blade. That's a different blade than I'm used to, for sure. And we have this cutout section that's also very interesting. And there's just enough hangover that I can actually grab that when we're doing the reverse flick. But this is technically a liner lock but it functions differently, okay? Because it's actually activated by this button, and that is the disengagement of the lock itself. Because the blade is really heavy, it allows you to deploy the knife with just the button itself, where you're taking all the pressure off with no detent. The detent is really good on this knife, so it's nice and strong, as it should be. And it also has a front flipper as well. So I think as of the filming of this, at least the last time I checked, and I will put a link to it, this was sold out on Remette's website. I guess it was really, really popular. I didn't get a chance to get my review in, but very interesting. This is certainly one of those knives for people who like to collect different styles of knives, and this is a very cool piece. I wouldn't call this a daily user. We have M390 blade steel, which is a very, very good steel out there. We have spaces in this knife for tritium. If you want to install it there, you can install it there as well, which you probably need to put some resin to kind of hold it in place. But very interesting indeed. Remette does two different categories of knives. They do budget knives, and then they do these ultra premium varieties. And they've been really nailing it lately on the premium end with some different takes, some different designs. So if you like that, you like to collect knives, maybe this is for you. Let me know. I'm personally not a Tanto fan most of the time. And yeah, I still like it though. I think that this is pretty cool. If I'm gonna make one critique, it's that the jimping needed to come all the way to the corner, and it needs to be much more aggressive for the front flipper to work at its best. That's my biggest critique, and I tend to say that quite a bit when it comes to flipper tabs where they don't have the proper jimping. This is just another example of it. Outside of that, yeah, I don't have much more to say. I mean, this is definitely one of those knives that's more about the look, the form, than the function itself. Although I have to say, I do like the new locking mechanism. Very easy to manipulate, whether you're a left-hander or a right-hander. So that's a pretty cool thing. And there is, however, no reversible pocket clip, but that's not surprising with these milled frames. A lot of times they do that to kind of keep it nice and clean. So that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and close this out. So there you are, 5 knives to take a look at, some interesting iterations. So here we are, 5 knives to take a look at, 4 of them well in the budget realm, and 1 premium offering that you might want to consider if you are a collector. Let me know if any of these caught your interest. I'm definitely curious to see which ones you prefer, and maybe I'm wrong about this knife. I don't know yet. Let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk again soon.